All right, everybody. So my morning walk, I just took my camera. This is an open mic. I just want to talk about what is happening in real estate market. I want to answer some of the questions that some of you had on my channel. I appreciate your support. I appreciate all of your comments, and I'm trying to get back to all of you. And this is one of the methods I can use to kind of answer everybody's questions, right? So obviously that real estate topic is hot. It's always hot in Canada and throughout the world, but people are concerned. They are being more and more concerned when it comes to their, real estate portfolios, to their livelihood, to the debt that they're carrying and all of that stuff. And the question is, do these interest rates actually have an impact? And the short answer is yes and no, right? It is definitely confusing, but it is not as simple, right? The real estate is not like a stock market where you see trades fluctuate overnight by large numbers, right? Real estate takes a long time for an absorption rate. It takes a lot longer to trade, to sell, and all of that stuff. So now I think people are reaching the end of a line, and they feel that they're at the last train station and they have to get out. There's no more prolonging, and there's no other stations that they could anticipate or hope for the better. So now they have to actually face their debts, they have to face their financial issues, they have to face everything, whatever they have done along the way on this train trip, they have to pay for it. Eventually they have to pay a price or the price for whatever they have done. So some of the questions that I got on my channel, should I downsize? Is it a good idea from a bigger home to a smaller house and stuff like that? And it is personal. It is individual. It depends what kind of debt you're carrying on your particular property. Do you have any debt whatsoever, mortgages, etc.? Do you have an income from that property, or renting your basement or not? And how does this particular property serving you? So as an example, I have a case, right, where they're carrying a large property with a large debt on it, like a big mortgage, right? So they're drowning. But the catch there is that they're hoping that 2025 will bring a miracle, and for some reason the prices will skyrocket in 2025, because we are seeing interest rates feathering down and all of that stuff, right? So yes, it is maybe helping some people, but as I spoke to a friend of mine, a colleague yesterday, and even the impact on his monthly rates are not as significant as you might think, right? Ever since they started lowering the interest rates, right? So he's hovering somewhere around $700-800 total, right? But he's still paying in thousands of dollars a month, right, to carry that particular property, right? And what he noted is that it takes time for that absorption rate, that decrease of a rate, to get into effect, right? Now, looking back, there are obviously many stories that I've shared on my channel and whatnot, but I was stuck on one particular case where the person had a house paid off, valued at the peak for $1.5 million, and they asked me, should I sell? I said, look, I believe that was the peak in 2022, the beginning. I think it's a wise idea. And they said, look, I got no debts, I got no mortgages on the property and whatnot. I said, okay, fine. It is what it is. You're comfortable. It's good, right? But then what happened? They went ahead and they bought 3 condos, pre-construction condos in Toronto and Toronto GTA and whatever. So they took HELOCs, line of credits, against their paid off property, which is, by the way, outside Toronto GTA, like it's like on the outskirts. Anyways, at the time in 2022, even the outskirt of Toronto was highly valued, right? Like people valued that, right? Like a little bit more land or whatever. So like they took money against their property. It was easily affordable to them, right? Like, so 20% on average, these condos were $700,000-800,000. So they took hundreds of thousands of dollars, and their writing cost was only, you know, few $100 a month, right? So they gave those down payments. Everything was fine. They're waiting for the pre-con to complete and all of that stuff. They obviously had 20% down, which they took against their home, they borrowed. So what happened? So look, now they're stuck with 3 pre-construction condos. They cannot sell, they cannot appraise at value. Their property that was valued at 1.5, it's barely scratching 1.25 or 1.2 if they're lucky. So look, they lost 300 grand of equity. They were writing that line of credit through a high interest rate period, and they lost thousands of dollars a month of carrying cost. Those condos that they have purchased, they're valued like, you know, 20% less than what they paid for. And like, if you summarize everything, like these guys are out of pocket $1 million. Think about it for a second, $1 million within a period of 2 to 3 years. That's insane, right? So now you get into a further rabbit hole, because we are at the end. This is the last train station. No more tracks. So 40,000 units in Toronto GTA are about to complete in 2025 and 2026. So whoever purchased these units will have to close on these units, get a mortgage, they have to be appraised, these units and all of that stuff. And by the way, if you didn't know this, if an appraisal comes in soft, let's say you paid $700,000 and the appraisal comes in at 620, in order for you to actually get the mortgage, you will have to come up with a difference. So in this case, $80,000, right? So on top of everything, you still have to come up with funds, and your property is not valued. You cannot rent it for the actual how you call it, for the actual amount that will actually carry that particular property. So you're hoping and praying for the equity jump that is not happening. So by the way, 81% of Toronto investors that recently bought, right, like on these projects, like they were betting on these projects, they're speculating on these projects, are underwater on average more than $600 a month. Boom! Look, 81% are underwater. These people cannot even close on these. 40,000 are coming. That is crazy. It's crazy from, and we will see it. I'm sure it will come out sometime in January or February of 2025, how we are seeing ridiculous amounts of debt on Visa cards and all the holiday spending and all of that stuff, right? I mean, it keeps happening every single year, but for some odd reason, we always had another train station to look forward to. We always had, like, it's okay. On the next one, we'll get out and we'll fix it. On the next one, we will get out and we'll fix it. Well, now, this is the last train station, right? And all these jumbo, mambo, 0.5% or 50 basis point cuts are basically scarcity, probably, right? Like, I mean, think about it. I mean, if they're reducing these rates at that rate, that quickly, I mean, they're definitely concerned about the entire economy. And if you have friends, if you're talking to, let's say, construction workers or people in field or businesses or whatnot, if you're interacting, you will notice that the economy is also shrinking large, right? Like this is not something that's like the odd week is off. For months, we're seeing real estate prices declining on monthly basis. Now, obviously, I don't delete my comments. Whatever you write, it's there. Whether I want to hear it or whether I don't want to hear it, it really doesn't matter. I don't delete my comments. I try to respond. I try to give my side of the coin and what I believe, right? But, you know, people tell me, look, it's still selling. And yes, I agree. It is still selling, but at what cost, right? At what cost things are selling today? And are these sellers happy, right? Like, I mean, this case with this gentleman, he could have sold for 1.5. Now he can sell for 1.2. Will that property sell for 1.2? Yes, but in their head, they're thinking, well, at one point I was at 1.5 and I will do anything to get to 1.5 again so I can just clear my ego, I can clear my mind because I know I was there. And that is what hurts everyone or most in this game, psychological game. They know what they could have had. They missed that train station, and now they're like, well, I'm just gonna wait. Even though they're drowning in debt. They're drowning. They don't know how to meet the next mortgage payment, but they're so stuck in getting out of that negative deficit or whatever, right? Like, I know, like they're holding onto the straw and it will burst. Now, when I say it will burst, like most are imagining this to be like, oh my gosh, like, you know what I mean? Like gray cloud or something like that. No, that's not what happens. You will just see your neighbors and colleagues and friends fall off slowly, right? And then eventually, because real estate is a long game and it's a slow game and it takes a while, eventually you will notice that the average is down. And then most of the time it will be too late. So if I can give any advices, obviously this is just my personal take. Doesn't have to be true. You don't have to do it. But I believe you should definitely start calculating and try to get rid of any debts as fast as possible. Try with small ones. I know it sounds stupid, but you can shave maybe a few $100s. Maybe try calling your cell phone provider, his internet provider, try to get a deal, a promotion, Black Friday deal or something like that. Start with that. Start with your insurances. Start with anything that has to do with monthly basis so you can shave those things off. Then spending, if you don't have it, don't spend it. Be creative another way, like, you know what I mean? Make nice dinner, do something. Like, not everything is in an expensive gift, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just try to throw some meaning at something and be content, be satisfied, right? I mean, we still live in a good country. Like, I know we're going through a hard time right now and we're on the map and all of that stuff, but you have to do what's best for you. Forget about the top, forget about the bottom. You do you and try to kind of calculate your own life first, right? And try to do whatever you can for yourself first, and then see how you can maybe implement it or give advice or talk to somebody or spread that kind of news to someone else. I mean, I'm doing that. Who cares? I mean, like, if it helps somebody, I'll be happy. And if somebody switches this video, goes to another channel, good for you. I mean, like, fine. Maybe you don't need any advices. Maybe you're doing great. Bless you. Good for you. But I'm saying you have to start somewhere. And when you start doing that, you will feel better. You'll feel more confident. You'll feel that there's maybe a light at the end of the tunnel, and even though we're hitting the train station, you'll be okay. But just don't be reckless, because this nonsense will stop, and it already stopped. We're in a recession probably for years now that we don't even know, but we are. So just looking at the data, that's what it shows. So anyways, I hope you got something out of this video and out of this content. I appreciate you following. I appreciate you supporting the channel, you're commenting. If you like anything else on this channel, any other videos, please click continue watching, and I'll see you in the next one.